Welcome back, Defenders. Jake here. Let's start today's video with a quick update on the bank failures here in the United States, and then we'll get to the military map. And the reason why is that the Russians are talking about it. Here's a recent clip from Russian Media Monitor titled, "Russian Propagandists Rejoice at US Bank Failures." Now, they don't say anything interesting in this clip, and the Russians don't really understand what's going on, so I'm not going to play the clip, but if you want to check it out for yourself, I'll put this clip and all the other clips in a pinned comment down below. And for my non-American audience confused about what's going on, let me explain to you that bank failures here in the United States are actually pretty common. We have lots of local and regional banks as part of a kind of dispersed network, and they sometimes fail. So here's an article showing bank failures here in the United States going back to the financial crisis of 2009. Now, 2009, 2010, this was not normal. 140 banks failed in 2009, 157 in 2010, but we had lots of bank failures for years after 2008, 2009. 51, 24, 18, 8, 5, 8. So every year, there's just a couple banks here in the United States that fail. 4 went under in 2019, but nobody was talking about a banking crisis in 2019. So yes, Silicon Valley Bank was a large bank to fail, but it was kind of an anomaly. And the reason why is I'm going to argue that Silicon Valley Bank failed because of one person, billionaire Peter Thiel. If you don't know Peter Thiel, he has some interesting political views, but he's a venture capitalist that funds tech companies and startups. So Peter Thiel's foundation fund had no money with Silicon Valley Bank as of Thursday morning as the bank descended into chaos, according to a person familiar with the matter. So what happened is somebody at the bank told billionaire Peter Thiel, hey, we're having to sell bonds at a loss to cover customer deposits. Peter Thiel, for whatever reason, didn't like the sound of that, so he decided to pull his personal millions out of the bank. He then got on his smartphone and texted all of the tech companies and startups that he funds and told them, get your money out of Silicon Valley Bank. So this one guy is the sole reason why there was a run on this bank. Silicon Valley Bank didn't fail because it made bad investments. It just failed because there was a run on the bank and they couldn't cover withdrawals of people's deposits. So something I want to make clear, President Biden wants to make this clear, that this is not a bailout. Taxpayer money is not being used to cover the deposits that were lost from SVB's collapse. What's happening here is the FDIC is just going to guarantee all deposits. Normally, they only insure and guarantee deposits up to $250,000, but the current insurance fund has $100 billion in it. So the Treasury Secretary is saying, this one time we're just going to cover everyone's deposits. Yes, lots of people had millions of dollars, well over the $250,000 limit, but because there's enough money in the fund, we'll be nice this one time and cover everyone's deposits. Same is true with Signature Bank here in New York City. They're going to cover everyone's deposits for that as well. The federal government can do this because these are relatively small banks failing. Yes, SVB was the 18th largest bank in America, but it still only had $212 billion in assets. It's not like JP Morgan Chase or Citigroup or Wells Fargo went under. If Bank of America went under, they have $3 trillion in assets. The insurance fund is not going to be able to cover people holding more than $250,000 in their accounts should one of the big banks fail. So this was not a taxpayer-funded bailout. This was not free money from the government. This was insurance money covering everyone's deposits. All of the bondholders and shareholders of the company, their equity has been completely wiped out. they will receive nothing. So let's now switch over to the military map, but first I want to welcome back a returning sponsor on this channel. The sponsor of today's video is Surfshark VPN, and Surfshark VPN is an app and browser extension that encrypts all of your data while online to add an extra layer of protection to keep your personal information safe from hackers and trackers. Aside from its military-grade encryption, why is Surfshark the best VPN on the market? And it's because it's the only VPN that allows installation on an unlimited number of devices, all on one account for one price. Surfshark can be great for sending or receiving files securely online or finding great shopping deals. But what I like about Surfshark is when using various streaming services such as Netflix, it allows you to unlock different content in other countries. For example, here in the United States on Netflix, they don't have my favorite animated show, Rick and Morty. But if I pull up Surfshark and change my country location to Japan, all I then have to do is refresh the page and boom, I now have access to all 6 seasons of Rick and Morty and I can watch it whenever I want. Likewise, I can change my country location to other countries around the world to unlock great TV shows and movies to watch. There is no risk in trying Surfshark VPN as they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Use the promo code jakebroeyt and sign up today and get 83% off, plus an extra 3 months for free. Thank you to Surfshark for being a sponsor on this channel. They're a fantastic product and service. So when we check in with the defenders on the front lines, the city of Bakhmut continues to hold. It does look pretty dire, but honestly, it's looked this way for a couple weeks now. And let's get a frontline update from Roman. Roman is not in the city of Bakhmut, but he's in a trench just outside of the city.
Hey, voices of Ukraine. This is how we're really fighting against invaders. It's very hard. We have one injured hero. And we have amazing medic. He literally saved his life in a few minutes. And now we're waiting for evacuating him from the battlefield. So this is how we fight. And it's not like some kind of movies. It's our reality. Because one terroristic state tried to invade another country. And that's what they did with soldiers and with civilians. That's why you should continue to support us, help Ukraine in this fight, because we want to live in peaceful in our country, in our land. But those fucking motherfucker try to do it, try to take our land and our lives. We don't let them do it. So guys, be on touch and wish good luck to our hero. I try to show him. Yeah.
I hope Roman and all these guys stay safe. Fierce battles rage in central Bakhmut as Russia grinds forward. Ukraine has said its strategy with the defense of Bakhmut is to degrade Russia's ability to launch any further offensives in the coming months, and buy time to ready its bid to recapture ground. So Ukraine for the last couple months has been in defensive mode, building up strength for a spring counteroffensive that they're saying is coming soon. And I still argue that time is on Ukraine's side. Here's a clip from Ukrainian defenders recently completing their training on US supplied equipment in Germany. All of this equipment and all of these trained defenders are soon going to be returning to Ukraine. Here's another report that Ukrainian tankers are completing their training in Spain on the Leopard 2A4 tanks. I honestly wasn't even tracking that there were Ukrainian defenders receiving training in Spain, but I know there are Ukrainian soldiers receiving training in lots of countries such as the United States, Great Britain, Germany, Poland, I think Lithuania, Spain, and who knows, maybe some more. In addition, defense production for NATO countries is only increasing. Everyone is trying to find ideas and solutions in order to supply Ukraine with all of the munitions specifically that they need to push out the Russians. Biden wants an $886 billion defense budget with eyes on Ukraine and future wars. So President Biden's biggest peacetime U.S. defense budget request of $886 billion includes a 5.2% raise for troops, as well as the largest allocation on record for research and developments, with Russia and China now being in the crosshairs. So Pentagon budget aims to max munitions production, and they're making multi-year buys. So the Pentagon aims to rev up the munitions industrial base here in the United States and max out production lines for several top priority missiles, according to the president's budget unveiled on Monday. Another reason why Ukraine is waiting to launch a counteroffensive is just look at the weather. You're going to see lots of clips of snow melting and then water flooding into the trenches. Let me share this clip with you.
На позиціях весна, на позиціях весна, повні чоботи багна, повні чоботи багна, по коліно у воді, по коліно у воді, захищаєм рідний дім.
At least it's getting warmer. Here's another clip of a Humvee trying to drive through a road. It can do it, but I mean, can you really call this driving? And this is more like sailing through this mud road to get wherever he's trying to go. In addition, I argue that Russia's ability to wage war degrades every day. Here's a quote: "If command doesn't stop this, we'll bring Ukrainians to the Kremlin ourselves." Russian servicemen are heard complaining about the heavy casualties they are taking and discussing the worthlessness and falsity of Putin's war in Ukraine. So every day there are phone conversations being intercepted by Ukrainian intelligence, communications back to Russia, communications among soldiers on the front lines, and nobody in Russia is happy about how this war is going. We've got another video from Dmitry over at War Translated showing Russian mobilized men complaining about their treatment. So these specific mobilized men, they were promised that they were going to be artillerymen far from the front lines. That's what they were mobilized for and trained for. However, once they reached Ukraine, they were told, no, you're actually going to be assault infantrymen. And that's not what they were equipped or trained for. I'll put all these clips in a pinned comment down below if you want to watch them for yourselves, but let me just read a little bit. We ask for our guys to be recalled from this task as they do not possess the necessary training or experience. On the grounds of the above, we ask you to provide permission for weapon and ammo deliveries. We're ready to serve in the Special Military Operations Zone with the specialty of artillerymen and complete set objectives. So they don't want to be assault infantry. More than likely, they're going to die. And we got a twofer. We got two clips today. So here's another one of mobilized men from the Sverdlovsk Oblast, and they're appealing to Putin directly, asking for help. This is what they say. Upon arriving, we were transferred to the command of this DPR brigade. We're from the territorial defense. We were transferred to storm units without proper records or paperwork. Our regiment has unjustified losses. One of our companies was sent to assault a strong point near Avdiivka without reconnaissance, without comms, without other units. As a result, 4 dead and 18 wounded. I don't know if these videos accomplish anything for these Russian troops. In addition, today we also got a video going viral of Russian mothers and wives appealing to Putin and Shoigu, asking for help for their loved ones dying in Ukraine. So let me read a little bit of this to you. We are wives, mothers, and relatives of the mobilized from Moscow. We appeal to Putin and Shoigu. We ask for your help. Our mobilized men were trained for 3 months as artillery specialists, but were sent to the Special Military Operations Zone, where they spent 2 months awaiting the weapons. They never received any artillery weapons to do their job. At the beginning of March, they were verbally announced that they are now assault infantry. The training that they got lasted only for 4 days, and then they were sent to be used as cannon fodder. So what is the Russian government doing for their soldiers on the front lines? And check this out. Russia is insane. I mean, one, you can't call this a war memorial because you can't call it a war, that's a crime. So here is a special military operation memorial while the special military operation is still going on. My Soviet history is a little fuzzy, but was the Soviet Union already erecting war memorials for their dead in 1942, a year into the war with Germany? This doesn't make sense. Look at the little Z on his chest. Normally, countries wait for a war to be over in order to honor their war dead. This is normal. But the fact that they're putting up war memorials today, while they're still fighting the war, means that this is a recruitment poster. They're trying to inspire 18-year-olds in the village walking past this to sign up for the Russian military to be used as cannon fodder in Putin's wars of imperialism. Here's a crazy story. On March 13th, a Russian soldier with the 27th Motorized Brigade from the Moscow region was found in a liberated village in the city of Kherson. This guy had abandoned his unit during the Kharkiv counteroffensive last September. So for 6 months, this Russian soldier has been hiding in the ruins of this village, not wanting to go back to his units, but also not wanting to be taken as a prisoner of war. I mean, I guess if you can find enough canned food and bottled water, I guess you could survive. This honestly reminds me of the last Japanese soldier to surrender after World War II, Hiro Onoda. This guy spent 25 years hiding in the jungles in the Philippines, refusing to accept that Japan had been defeated in World War II. He only finally surrendered in 1970, and this guy lived until 2014. He lived to be 91 years old, so I think we're going to get some similarly weird stories coming out of this conflict once the fighting officially stops. Another bad indicator for Russia, Russia turns to women's prisons for fresh recruits. Russia has resorted to recruiting inmates from women's prisons to serve in the Russian military in a bid to make up for its growing losses in Ukraine, according to both Ukrainian officials and an independent Russian prisons watchdog group. So nothing says that the war is going great when you've already emptied the male prisons in Russia, and you now have your sights on the women's prisons in Russia. Here's a crazy clip. There were all these reports that the Chechen leader Kadyrov had been poisoned and was suffering from kidney failure and was in Dubai receiving medical treatment. So to calm the nation and not have people worry, Kadyrov flew back to Moscow to meet with Putin, but this is a really weird interaction. We're going to watch the first 30 seconds of this.
Республики у нас все очень неплохо. Это благодаря вам, да. Если вы разрешите, то я чуть похвастался бы, да. У нас в 2002 году Чеченская республика заняла предыдущие места, позиции в различных сферах. У нас в первое место.
So this is supposed to be a routine propaganda clip, but both of these men do not look good. During the entire clip, Kadyrov's hands are shaking while holding the paper. And just look at Putin. I'm a believer in the theory that Putin uses body doubles, and the guy who makes public appearances looks a lot healthier. But this is the real Putin, the guy who has to grip the table to stop his hands from shaking, the guy with poor posture. Even look how loose this suit is, indicating that, Putin is 70 years old. Maybe he's losing muscle mass and bone density and losing weight as he ages, and I'm sure his life right now is pretty stressful. And what the heck is going on with Kadyrov? This guy looks like he's easily gained 20 or 30 kilograms in the last year, maybe from stress eating or health complications. I love the platform shoes this guy is wearing. And nothing says you're winning a war like chopping down the green areas of your capital city to put up new air defense systems. So forested areas in the Moscow region have been cleared in order to erect new air defense systems. So it's going great, Russia. Keep it up. And this clip is pretty incredible. Russia is literally falling apart. In 2007, Russia started building this mosque in Ufa. It was supposed to be the largest mosque in the country. Construction was never finished and was halted last year because of, the budgets. But this is one of the minarets falling randomly and collapsing on the building. So I don't think that's going to buff out. Final clips I have for you. The first one is from the channel Very Finnish Problems, and according to Russian state media, they were going to cut off energy exports to Finland, and the Finns were supposed to freeze this winter, but here's a video they put out in response. Looks like a fun time. You have to maintain your sense of humor. Final clip I have for you is from Maria Avdiva talking about recent street graffiti.
Windows in this building were blown out and boarded for more than a year, and now they are turned into the place for graffitis. My favorite is this one. It says, "It burns so nicely," and it really does. And this is another symbol of remarkable Ukrainian resilience. Use broken windows to show how unbreakable Ukrainian nation is. Slava Ukraini!
Russia burns so nicely. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.